Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1989 Mazda Rx-7 convertible. Up front is a 1.3 liter rotary engine, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Rx-7 convertible for two reasons. First of all, this is the first Rx-7 I've driven since I sold my personal Rx-7 last fall. So, it's a little bittersweet for me to be back in the seat of one of these, but the second reason is the fact that this vehicle only has 40,000 miles on it, so this is a true time capsule of what these cars were like when they came out. It is unmodified, which is getting so hard to find, and so I'm excited to share it with you today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 1.3 liter 13B rotary engine under the hood. It's a 2-rotor engine and makes about 155 horsepower. Now, this is what's known as an S5 RX-7, meaning a Series 5 RX-7. And that started here in 1989. 86 to 88 is the Series 4, 89 to 91 is the Series 5. And so it did get a little bit of a power bump, a couple more refinements from here, and that's noticeable with the engine under the hood. It actually has a completely different intake manifold, and a lot of S4 people swap in the S5 intake. It flows a little bit better, it's better designed, things like that. Now, of course, this is the rotary engine. That's what the RX-7 is known for, and that's what the R in RX-7 stands for. And so it is a very, very rev-happy engine. It revs all the way out to 8,000 RPM. But what gets lost, because these cars are so heavily modified so often, is just how smooth it is. This car is an incredibly smooth experience, and that gets lost because people always put solid motor mounts and exhausts and all that stuff. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it's really, really enjoyable. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual. You could find these in 4-speed automatics or the 5-speed manual. There was never a 6-speed paired to a rotary until the RX-8. And I like the shifter throw. Mazda has always had a very good shifter throw. I've always pleasantly enjoyed it. And so that stands here true with the FC convertible. Last but not least, of course, the convertible is rear-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive an RX-7 convertible? Well, like I said with the engine, it's nice and smooth and quiet. Yes, it revs all the way out to 8,000 RPM, but you don't really notice it unless you're really listening for it. That's how smooth it is. Visibility is great because it's an 80s car. I love 80s car visibility. Handling is pretty good, although the convertible is heavier than the coupe version. So the coupe is a lot lighter, so you're gonna have better handling characteristics there, but still not bad here in the convertible. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of gauges. Off to the left, I have my oil pressure, voltage, fuel, and coolant temperature. In the center, I get that beautiful center-mounted tachometer that goes all the way up to 8,000 RPM. And then off to the right, I have my speedometer showing that 40,000 original miles. Around the gauges, I do have buttons for the rear defrost, pop-up headlights, of course, gotta love that. We'll talk about that with the exterior. Hazard switch, and then my power folding roof off to the right. So this does have a mostly power-operated roof. It goes up, and then you have to latch it yourself, and you have to take the top down, which we'll talk about with the exterior again, but that's where you operate it. On the steering wheel, I don't get anything. This is pre-airbag. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent that's actually on the door. It's sort of this swooping on the door. I have my lock and unlock and my power windows down below. If you want to search out a Japanese domestic market one, they actually have automatic power windows, and that's all ran through the switch actually. So you can swap in a JDM switch if you want automatic power windows. Moving into the center, we have what's called the idiot cluster. This is a lot of our warning lights, as well as a clock, and all of these in all RX-7s FCs from this era are broken, so it's really cool to see an actual working one here today. Moving down the center console, we do have 2 climate control vents. Our climate controls themselves, very standard stuff here, and if you're a big Ford fan of the era, you'll recognize the labeling is very similar to the Ford products at the time. And then we have our radio. So this is the factory radio that has a CD player back in 1989. Very, very early to have a CD player. Then we do get an ashtray and cigarette lighter, and before we leave this area, this bezel around the outside here is very, very hard to find uncracked. So if you have one that's not cracked or can find one that's not cracked, you, my friend, have gold. Then we have the shifter itself, this sort of Top Gun style shifter. Stock shift knob in an RX-7 is kind of funny. Very 80s, very, very big hair, neon colored style shifter, if that makes sense. Then we do have some headrest speaker control. So in the headrest of the seats, we actually do get speakers. We later saw this in the 1990 Mazda Miata. That's actually where the Miata gets it. And so we can adjust the volume and power and surround sound and things like that. Then we do have a little security light, our fog light switch and mirror adjustments, and a center console. None of this is a cup holder. So unfortunately, the 1989 Mazda RX-7 convertible fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are blue, as the rest of this interior is. Most of them had blue interiors, maybe some gray. Black is the holy grail if you can find it. But these are blue. They are very, very comfortable, and they sort of reinforce that sort of cruiser feeling. However, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the 89 Mazda RX-7 convertible. Little key latch here, and pop it up like that. Now this is actually a tonneau cover that goes over this section to kind of cover up the roof and make it look pretty, but I was putting the roof up and down, so I just left it here in the trunk. Otherwise, you get okay trunk space, but if you really want that extra cargo space, go with the fixed hardtop coupe. You're gonna have a lot better luck with that. So the other RX-7, the other body style, was the hardtop or the coupe, and that had this sort of swooping rear trunk that was massive. This obviously does not. Kind of a compromise for the convertible top, but still not bad by any regard. Now we gotta talk about the looks of the Mazda RX-7, and God, I mean, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Oh my God. I love it so much. Okay, I really do love it. I've grown up around RX-7s. I've owned 3 of them. I have owned an RX-7 FC of this style before, although mine was a coupe in an 87. I love it. The pop-up headlights sell it. Let's talk about the top. Now, there is sort of a Targa portion. You fold that down, and it is the power folding top, which is kind of interesting. And you do have this little wind deflector that pops up down below. However, that means that you don't get any rear storage bins like a hard top RX-7 does. And so that is sort of a lack. This is more of a weekender car. The standard coupe RX-7 you could live with at the time. Now that they're getting close to 40 years old, they're all going to be 40 years old and have problems. But in terms of buying one from the showroom in 1989, if you wanted a more livable car, the coupe makes a lot more sense. If you wanted a weekender, well, this makes a lot more sense in that category. I do have to say also, these are the best RX-7 wheels ever fitted to any generation of the Mazda RX-7. They're made by BBS, and they are fantastic and absolutely lovely. But with all that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally being back in the seat of another Mazda RX-7? Well, I don't have really any new ground to cover here, besides the fact that I just really wanted to show off how clean and amazing this example of the RX-7 FC convertible is. I would eat dinner off this car, although I wouldn't, because that would be sacrilege and rude. I love this thing. It's such a great cruiser. Don't expect big power out of these. That's what I always tell people. If you want a fun, enjoyable cruiser that's cushy and comfortable, more comfortable than the Mazda Miata, definitely cushier than the Mazda Miata, more friendly to taller people than the Mazda Miata, I can't recommend this car enough. But if you do want that straight line speed, a little bit better handling, more sporty, more driver oriented, definitely go with the coupe. It's just more geared towards that. But for me, it's a Saturday morning, and I'm pleasantly enjoying the Mazda RX-7 convertible. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to the owner for letting me take this vehicle out, and I look forward to bringing you guys more of these awesome relics from the past soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.